Greetings, one and all. Maestro Durst, I believe his name is Thomas, left a comment, quite lengthy. He's obviously got a number of microphones. And he says, I'd like to add a large diaphragm condenser. I'm thinking, why? I have two LDCs, but both are not ideal for vocals. I'm wondering why not. He said an audio engineer said that the 105 and Thomas's Sennheiser 5032 are so good that unless he spends a lot more, they can't be beaten. Or why not? Maybe they can't, but what does that mean? He said, you have a 105, which I do, and an NT1, which I do. Would you compare them? Sure thing. My voice, meaning his, is a bass baritone, he says, not as smooth as mine. He goes on to say, nearly all NT1 reviews tend to be the NT1A, which he's demoed and didn't like. Where there are NT1s, they tend to be females or high baritones, tenors. He says some more and then, kind regards, Thomas. Incidentally, when I was looking up his mics, I just happened to spot a Telefunken U47. I think new, I could be wrong, but £10,000. I'd love to get my hands on some of these classic mics to see, is there some magic? Anyway, I'm now going to, this bit of the video I've just done, the explanation, is going to be on both the videos as I go on to do the comparison. But on this one, I'm going to take this front bit I've just done, and because I've got some questions, so it's going to be a separate video. So there we go. So I'm going to cut this now and carry on with my questions. My questions are then, he said he'd like to add a large diaphragm condenser. So why? I'm assuming there must be something about them, or you imagine there is, that is going to be beneficial. Maybe just like collecting microphones. I'm not one to just stop you doing that. But I'm thinking for most of us, can you, what is it you're after? What is it you imagine the large diaphragm condenser will add? And why are these LDCs not ideal for vocals? I'm assuming here he's talking about studio, obviously, because he's questioning the NT1. So we're not really talking about pops and stuff like that, because, and even handling noise, because that matters very much on a stage mic, but not in the studio so much. There's ways around, ways you can mitigate that. So I would say to anybody, seeing as there's so many microphones, if you could slow down maybe, and what is it you think you're lacking? What is it you think you're after? What will the large diaphragm bring? He goes on then with the 105 and his Sennheiser 5032 are so good that unless you spend a lot more, well, there's quite a difference in price from what I could see. I looked them up, the Sennheiser. The 105 now is around about £500. It's gone up. I think it's about that, 400 and something maybe. It's gone up considerably from when I bought mine. The Sennheiser seems an old one and is less expensive, is second hand, I think. So unless I spend a lot more, they can't be beaten. So again, what is it you want to beat? What is it you're after? Otherwise, you're going to go on for forever, really. Would you compare them? Yes. Nearly all tend to be 21. Okay. That's what I'm saying, really, is perhaps what kind of things are you looking for? Okay, pops and handling noise. Yeah, that's pretty, if it makes you sad, all that stuff, then very important. Again, I say in studio voiceover, you can get rid of that by other means. I think really he's talking about a kind of a quality. Basically, it seems to me the differences in microphones are going to be, and also, SPL, how much they can handle. I think all that's covered these days, really. What we're looking at is the frequency response and the curve or lack of. It's one thing. It's going to make them sound different immediately. Bearing in mind, the frequency response can be altered on a desk. Well, the shape, not the actual extremes. And then you're looking at, it seems to me, lack of distortion. So you've got that frequency, but bits of it are kind of distorted. And then also, I'm going to say detail. Because the detail can kind of be there, but it can be distorted as well. So correct me if you can think of any others. But it seems to me they're the main things. The width, frequency, the shape of things, as it got pushes and stuff in it that you're going to have to get rid of, or they don't suit your voice. And also, do you like the detail? Then he's talking about large diaphragm. I don't have a vast experience of anything, actually, but particularly of large diaphragms. I think I've had 4 or so. My understanding is that the larger diaphragm will, I was going to say, struggle to get the highest frequencies, but I think more importantly than that, might have some distortion, which I think some people find pleasant, because you've got this large diaphragm and it's got to be linear and uniform and not twist and distort as it's being, and also it's heavier, so it's going to be difficult to get there. But maybe people like those distortions. I think the large diaphragm, like a woofer in a speaker, can handle the lows more readily than a smaller diaphragm. But what are you looking for? Earthworks use small diaphragms. I think for that reason. For the stopping and starting is quicker. The high end can be resolved more easily. And I suspect that the low end is enhanced. I wouldn't say enhanced, but brought back up to level by electronics. It seems to me that the low end isn't such an issue as being able to move the thing at 20,000 times a second cleanly. So that's all really on this. It just struck me as, what is the issue? Why the large diaphragm? Why the L? I'm not criticising here. I'm just saying for all of us, it's probably worth seeing if you can get an idea. What is it you're actually after? What is it you like? Then when you go looking and shopping, you've got an idea what you're after. A lot of the manufacturers seem to say, this has got bold this and it's bold that and it does this, it does that, and it's going to be really striking. And I can't remember what some of them said. All sorts of marketing things, which of course, but what does that actually mean? That's it really. See if you can slow down is my advice. Try to think about what it is that you're after, and then you can maybe refine your search. Okay, that's this bit over with, so I'm going to get on with the other comparison here. And it'll be interesting, because I haven't used either for a while. Keep well.